Hello everyone, welcome to Technical Route. As we are going with Java programming, and yesterday we are done with a class, and today let us see what are the data types in the Java. What are the data types? The data types are used to store some data. It is a place to store some data, and these data types are measured by the byte. Measure the data by using bytes. We are going to measure the data by using bytes, and there are two types of data types in Java. They are an primitive and non-primitive data types. First one is an primitive data type, and one more is a non-primitive. Non-primitive data types. There are two data types that are primitive and non-primitive. These primitive data types are fixed, and these non-primitive data types are complex. There are some more within this primitive and non-primitive. There are some more data types there in that. In this, there are a byte with an 1 byte of size, and then short 2 bytes. Int is having 4 bytes. Long 8 bytes. Float, decimal, double, char 2 bytes, and boolean 1 bit. These are the primitive data types. These byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, and boolean. These are the primitive data types. In non-primitive data types, there is only one, that is a string. String is the only non-primitive data types. And here in the primitive data types, here this byte, short, long, and int, these are the non-decimal number. These are used for the non-decimal numbers. These are used for a non-decimal numbers, and these float and double, they were used for an decimal numbers. Used for non-decimal numbers, and this float were used for decimal numbers, float and double. And this char is used for a single character, and boolean is for a true or false type. It is used for any single character. And this boolean is used for a true or type values. true or false. And this string will store the data for and they're using these strings for a names or date of birth or an mail ID to these strings are used for these many things. These are the two data types in the Java that are primitive and non-primitive data types. In primitive, these will come in primitive. In non-primitive, there is only strings. Now see what is the syntax in the data type. What is syntax of data type? Syntax of data type followed by variable name equals to data or value. It is a syntax of the data types. Data types that are followed by the variable. That is variable name is a programmer defined variable name and data or value. So examples in the Eclipse. Now I'm going to take one int with an x is equals to 10. Print that. Print that x semicolon. See data type variable equals data or value. It is matching to the syntax also. See data types variable name is equals data or value and going to print, and these non-decimal will be using morely int for these non-decimal numbers. It is a non-decimal number. We are going to use morely and int only. Print it. Say I got the value. This is for an int. And inside this print statement, this variable name should be using without any quotes. We are not going to use any quotes inside this. And for long, I'm taking a long. Long L is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Print L. See, I got the output. If these digits, data or value, if it is less than or equals to 9, we don't need to add the L in the end of the year. If it is these digits were less than or equals to 9 means it no need to add the L. It is an optional. If it is having and digits more than 10 or equals to 10, on that time we are going to add an L in the last. So it is an optional here. L2 is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, there is these numbers, digits were in equals to 10, I think so. So we need to add an L, capital or small, it's a mandatory. Print that one. If we don't add, then we're going to get an error. See, I got output. If it is less than or equals to 9, the L is not mandatory. If it is 10 or more than 10, then the L is mandatory to use. Now we haven't uh, now we have a formula to find the minimum value and the maximum value for an finding the size of the byte in short byte not like that. But in program we don't need to use like that. We have a shortcut to print and maximum number. We are going to use byte dot max value and byte dot min value. For short, dot maximum value and then dot min value. See, now I'm going to run this program. I'm going to get the minimum value, and see, 127 is an, see here. See, this 127 is a maximum value of the byte, and the minimum value is minus 128, and the maximum value of this short is an 32767, and then minimum value is minus 32767, and for int it will be from 4 bytes, so it will be from minus 2 billions to plus 2 billions, like that. Now for float also there will be minimum and maximum value. For float, the minimum value is float. We are going to use this float and double for an non-decimal values, and the minimum value is 10 power, and okay, the minimum value of this float is 10 power minus 37, and max is in 10 power plus 37, and this float is having an if data, if this now float is equals to 3.3.14 f. If the data is having a decimal, we have to compulsorily use an f. If data is having a decimal, for float we are going to use an f, and for double we are going to use an small d or caps t. It is mandatory. If it is not having an decimal value, if a float is having 314 commonly, there is no need of an using an f. It is not mandatory. If it is in decimal, then we need to use an f mandatory. For character, if it 2 bytes, it is used for a single character. A char C is equals to for single, right? Then a single to come A, like this. Char C2 is equals to caps B, like this. And storing no value in char is not possible. We are not no storing any value. That means equals to. This is not possible. Storing nothing values in this char is not possible. For a boolean, for boolean we are going to use p2 is equals to true, and boolean b3 is equals to false. We are going to use this boolean for an true or false values. This is for an primitive data types, and for non-primitive string. For string, we are going to use for a names, date of birth, mail IDs, etc., etc., etc. Now, string data type, variable name. Any value within these double inverted commas, where this is a string. Any value that is closing with this double inverted comma is for a string. Now, one more string, s1 is equals to abcd at gmail.com. You can store an mail ID also, and string s2 is equals to date of birth 07/05/2025. You can store an date of birth also in the string, and the string will also allow and space also. S3 is equals to, it will allow space also, and this is also used for numbers also can be used in these strings. And we can use a single character also. String stores these things, all these many things, and that can be an email ID, date of birth, and space also that can be included. And these numbers and these we can perform arithmetic operations in string also. But compared to this primitive uh, strings and compared to this not primitive and non-primitive, the primitive are faster. This primitive these primitive data types are faster when you compare to the non-primitive types. These are about the data types. Now let us go continue. Next is an object. We know that we are going to use a class for creating an object. This object is an real world entity. We have to create an object only inside the main method. Is an The object is a real world entity, and we have to create object only inside the main method. We have to create the object only inside the main method. Let us see the syntax of object. First is an class name. This is an object reference. Object reference. New keyword, that is an predefined keyword, and class, that is a constructor. This is a syntax of the object. Class name, object reference, it is a programmer defined object reference. New, this new is going to responsible creating of a new object, is responsible creating an object. This is a program that is a class name, new class name. It is also called as a constructor. No arguments constructor. For every new keyword, a different object can be created. For every of the new keyword, we are going to create a different object. One example for this. Taken one class. Class name is an sample with an. Now I'm going to write a Java program to store an year pan data into a class and print the data. The question means write a Java program to store year pan data. Year pan data into a class and print the data. This is a question. Program to store. This is a question. I'm going to create a one more class, that class name as a pan. This is a class, so need, and we are going to store the year pan data into the class and print that data, year pan data. So pan can have a pan number and name also. Pan number for an, so the pan number can be a This is a PAN number and then name. For names and all, we are going to use a string. Name as in James. This is an PAN data within a PAN number and then PAN name. So in the main class, we are going to create an object for the PAN class. PAN object reference P is equals to new class name. This is an object. I'm just going to print it down. P dot PAN number, P dot name. See, it's very simple. I'm going to take one within other class and I've taken an PAN, that is a PAN number and name. And in the main class, I'm going to create an object for this PAN class. Here's a PAN class with a PAN number and the PAN name. I've done here, created an object for the PAN class and printed PAN number and PAN name. See, this is an PAN number ABCD2233 and the PAN name is an James. Okay. Okay, guys, this is an example for an object for creating an object. Thank you. I'll end here.